Now this Trax we have here is the LTZ trim equipped with all-wheel drive. Now the Trax is based off of the Buick Encore, and the Buick Encore is essentially a more gussied up version of the Trax. It comes equipped with projector headlights, which this one doesn't have, and then a much more luxurious interior design. Now as far as styling goes on the vehicle, I think it's kind of a mashup between the more larger Equinox and then Buick's Encore, which is a pretty interesting mashup there. But overall, it's pretty conservative looking, and even though Chevrolet is trying to appeal to a more youthful buyer with this vehicle here, it just needs more visual appeal. It's just not really appealing to look at. It's kind of boring in all honesty. Now here goes the key fob design for the vehicle. Typical GM looking key here. You have a switchblade key, and then you have your unlock, your lock, and then your remote engine start, and then your panic button too. Now it does have a red exterior color with a two-toned light gray and dark gray leather interior, power driver's seat, and power lumbar, and then your manual recline right here. Now stepping on into the vehicle here, as far as the interior design goes here, it's pretty utilitarian, I have to say, and it really does mimic the cheapest sedan in Chevrolet's lineup, the Sonic. But this is the cheapest crossover SUV in Chevrolet's lineup, so it kind of makes sense there. And what you're hearing is a 1.4 liter 4-cylinder turbo. Now coming to your transmission, you have a 6-speed automatic with manual shiftability. Putting the vehicle into reverse does display your rear view camera with guidance lines. And let's go ahead and turn on the lights and the hazards too. Automatic driver's side window. And let's go ahead and pop up the hood and check out the engine bay. Heated exterior mirrors. Halogen headlights with halogen fog lights. Pretty restrained looking front end. Kind of reminds me of the Chevrolet Equinox, however. Now under the hood you have a 1.4 liter 4-cylinder turbo producing 138 horses with 148 pound-feet of torque. Now this is actually the same powertrain that you will find in the Buick Encore. It provides decent amounts of passing power with decent fuel economy as well. Now expect fuel economy numbers to be 24 in the city as well as 31 on the highway. It's pretty fuel efficient. Now competitors of the Chevrolet Trax, you have the new Honda HR-V as well as the Nissan Juke and the Kia Soul. This segment is getting pretty competitive nowadays. You do have 18-inch alloy wheels which do come on this LTZ trim. Rear window wiper with a rear window defroster, rear parking sensors, and rear reflectors, and it is all-wheel drive. Now if you know the Buick Encore, this really does take a lot of its styling cues from the Encore, and I have mistaken this vehicle for the Encore many times when I saw it driving on the road. Power windows, power mirrors, power door locks too. Nice soft touch armrest, chrome door handles as well. And let's go ahead and rev it up. Now, as far as build quality and materials go inside of this vehicle here, build quality is pretty good for the most part. You won't find that many panel gaps inside of here, and everything fits well together. Now, materials are a different story. Materials, hard plastics do abound everywhere inside of this vehicle here. And however, you do have this nice soft touch armrest, and then you do have a nice soft touch armrest right here. But hard plastics up on the dashboard, however, they do have a decent graining to it. It's a pretty utilitarian design here, and it kind of really does mimic the Sonic inside of here, which is GM's cheapest sedan you can buy. Now, coming to your center stack controls, the center stack controls are just like the Chevrolet Sonics. They're very simple, easy to read. You have your temperatures right here, your fan speeds, and then your different zones. However, they do have a pretty clunky feel to them. And then you do have heated seats, which you get on this LTZ trim. And then you have your cup holders right here. And then a power outlet, and then a little storage cubby right there. And then your e-brake is also located right there. Then, like I said, you do have your armrest right there. Now, coming to the steering wheel design, this steering wheel design is getting a little long in the tooth. This steering wheel design I've been seeing for quite some time now, since like 2010, 2011. But it still works. You still have your cruise control on the side right here, voice recognition, Bluetooth phone controls, steering wheel mounted audio controls, and then it is leather wrapped, and then you do have a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel as well. Now, coming up here, you have your OnStar with your auto-dimming rearview mirror, your sunroof with your sunroof controls, interior illumination lighting, and then right there you also do have your traction control off button. Now, coming to the gauges do kind of mimic the Sonic a little bit. You have your RPM gauge right there, and then you have your speedometer, a digital one, in the center right there, and then your fuel gauge is right there. And then your trip odometer is right there as well. But overall, it's pretty distinctive looking. I love the design of it, just like how it is in the Sonic. Now, you also do have the 4G LTE Wi-Fi hotspot system on this vehicle. Now, let's get to the main head unit here. This is Chevrolet's MyLink system. Now, they do have different versions of the MyLink, and this is the cheapest version that you can get. In some of their other cars, trucks, and SUVs, you get different versions of the MyLink. However, I don't think this is a bad version, even though it's the cheapest one you can get. I think it's much more simplified than the ones that you get on higher end models in the Chevrolet lineup. But right here you have your capacitive volume button, and it works pretty well, I have to say. Coming to your home button, you have your audio, picture, movie, telephone, smartphone link, settings. Let's go to audio. Now, coming to your different sources, you have AM, FM, XM satellite radio, USB port, of course, auxiliary input, and Bluetooth streaming audio. And then you can store pictures and movies on there, show pictures and movies on there. And then you have Bluetooth hands-free calling. You can store all of your contacts on there. And then you have your smartphone link. Now, the smartphone link, you can access various apps such as Pandora, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, through your smartphone data connection. And then coming to your settings, you could basically change many different settings like time and date, your language, connection, vehicle settings, many different things. But it's very simplified. The responsiveness of the touchscreen is very great, and even though this is the cheapest version, the rendering of it is superb. And then you could turn the system off or on if you want. Pretty neat. Now, coming up here, you also do have a little storage cubby right there. Now, as far as the seats go, the seats are pretty comfortable for the most part. The headrests are nice and big. And then, however, there's not a whole lot of side bolstering. However, thigh support is decent. Now, as far as visibility goes, visibility is okay. There's actually a decent amount of glass area in the front windows, and the A-pillar isn't too thick. However, when you get to rearward visibility, that's when it gets pretty harsh, and blind spots are pretty massive back there. And at least you do have this rear view camera. Now, one styling cue that I'm a pretty big fan of is these tweeter air vents that you will also find in the Chevrolet Sonic. They have a pretty youthful look to them. However, this really doesn't fit the overall personality of the vehicle. This is not a youthful car here, but at least they're trying. Now, as far as driving dynamics go of the Trax, this isn't a chuckable hatchback. The suspension is soft, the steering is pretty flavorless, and the biggest dynamic plus is the chassis' wheelbase-aided ability to rotate quickly. All of those same tuning choices do make the Trax a quiet and well-controlled vehicle. It's hushed on the highway and so smooth over rough roads. Alright, and let's go ahead and shut it down. Let's go ahead and check out the rest of the Trax. Let's go ahead and check out the rear seat space as well as the cargo capacity. Now, materials and build quality do follow through in the rear. You still have chrome door handles back here, and the armrest is still soft touch. However, the upper door panel is all hard touch. Now, don't expect for these second row seats to recline. Now, I'm actually quite surprised you do have a little armrest with cup holders back here. And legroom isn't too shabby. Now, I'm about 5'11", and this is where my driving position would be. And my knees are touching the back of the seat. However, it's not horribly cramped back here. I could still fit for the most part. But you do have dual map pockets back here. And a power outlet way down there. However, these rear seats do fold down. Alrighty. Now these rear seats do fold down to maximize cargo space. Do have a little storage cubby right there. And then your floor mats are right there. Full manual passenger seat. Little storage cubby right here, and then you also do have your USB port and your auxiliary input. This is actually kind of like where your center console storage would actually be. They actually put it up here instead of putting it right down here. So at least you do get a little bit of storage space. And then you have your glove box right here, which is not damped, just slams right down. Alrighty. So with a decently sized cabin, a versatile cargo area, and with all the latest technology and connectivity features, the Chevrolet Trax is a solid choice for a subcompact crossover. So remember that this is Cameron Birch from Cameron's Car Reviews.